Hi, before we jump into today's video, I want to give you a few disclaimers or additional information. Please watch both parts. There are two parts to this video, and check the description box for additional information and drop your questions. Next up, thank you to Ebony for sharing her story, her journey to home ownership through NACA.
Thank you!
I truly believe that her situation was a God thing, and you will see why by watching. I cannot promise that your outcome, if you decide to go through NACA, will be like hers. I have never come across anybody that has an interest rate as low as her interest rate. Mind-blowing, but again, I believe it's a God thing. NACA is a great program, but as we share, it is not an easy program. It is not for everyone, but it is needed by some, and you will learn more in the video. Two big things. The agent that Ebony worked with, Ebony believes that she was her last NACA client. She believed that after Ebony, she kind of was like, I'm good. Because going through NACA, you'll see it's very involved. It takes time. It's time consuming. There's a lot of steps. So she doesn't believe she's taking on any more NACA clients anymore. And also the builder that Ebony went through, she believes after she got her home, the builder was like, we are not accepting any more NACA contracts. So it could still be possible, but I would say just do your due diligence. If you are considering going new construction, I would contact the on-site agents for whatever communities that you're interested in and ask, okay? So those are my disclaimers. Go ahead and enjoy the video. Natasha, Bazile with SoldByNat.com, associate broker, home selling, and new construction specialist with Virtual Properties Realty in Georgia. And tonight, or I said tonight, they don't know it's tonight, but I have a special guest in today's video. Welcome, Ebony.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes. Listen, I have a good one for you today. And this video is so overdue. So we are going to be talking about NACA. Among some other things. Before we get started, Ebony, please share with the good people what does your shirt mean?
Okay, so these are Greek letters. Okay. This is Sigma Gamma Rho for Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, founded in 1922 by Seven Pearls in Indianapolis, Indiana. We are the only Black Greek sorority that was not founded at Howard University. We were founded on a campus that was predominantly white, right next door to the headquarters of the Ku Klux Klan. And wow. we survived, and last year made our 100-year hour, so we celebrated Centennial. Sigma Gamma Rho.
Wow, yes. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
Listen,
awesome.
I'm bringing you all the things on here.
Wow, BJD. Congratulations. Good.
Yes. So, I already said I'm not sharing with you guys how Ebony and I met. Just know that Ebony and I met.
Yes, we met.
Let's say last year?
Yeah.
About last year or so.
Around this time last year.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So around this time last year, at the time of this recording, it is April of 2023. So we've known each other about a year now. I'll say this, we met through our social networks. We'll just say that. We met through our social networks.
Right.
And Ebony bought a home in one of the neighborhoods that I've done a video in. And what has intrigued me is that Ebony used NACA. NACA, if you don't know what NACA is, and I will include information for NACA down in the description box. NACA is a program, they have a program for home buyers and homeowners that need to sell their home, or they're trying to, not sell their home, but they're trying to keep their home. Do you know if they still have that program?
I'm not sure. I'm
Okay,
not sure if they do.
so my first introduction to NACA was, if you watch the video about my personal home story, I talked about when I moved to Georgia. I bought it in 2006, moved in 2007, and then you know what happened with the market. 2008, it crashed, and I almost lost my home. And NACA was able to help me keep my home. You didn't?
No, ma'am.
Yes, that was
Didn't
my
know that.
introduction to NACA. And at that time, that's when people were waiting in the long lines. They were going out to Atlanta, and you were waiting to work with a counselor, and it worked. It worked for me. I don't know if it worked for everybody, but they were able to get my interest lowered, my payment lowered, and I cannot remember if it was loan modifications or how they did it. But they did it, and they helped me. But there's also a buying side to NACA. And after that, I've gotten licensed, I'm in real estate, and people have wanted to go through the buying side. Everyone that has come to me to go through the buying side, I'll be honest with you, they have chucked up the deuces. They have been like, this is too much, it's taking too long, let me just go the traditional buying route. So when I found out that Ebony bought her home through NACA, I'm like, oh my gosh, they exist.
Yeah, there's a success story.
There's a success story, and not only a success story, you bought new construction.
I watched the house from the ground up. It was nothing, it was dirt.
So you see why I wanted to interview her. Today I wanted to pick her brain, ask some questions for you. I'm not a NACA expert. I will gather some information. I'll put it in this video, but I wanted to bring this information to you, and Ebony is going to share, so that she can help you. So let's start here. Ebony, what year did you buy your home?
So next week will be 2 years, my 2-year anniversary, which is crazy. So I bought it in 2021.
Okay. Was that your first time? Your first home?
Your first time.
First time.
First owning of anything besides a car.
Okay. All right. Okay. What made you want to buy a home?
There wasn't an option. Once I relocated, I also relocated from New York City.
You can try to tone it down, but I hear it all in your voice.
I know, I can't help it, son. BX, son. But yeah, so living in New York, it was never an aspiration.
To own a home?
Ever. In my life. Definitely not a single family home.
Good, because?
How?
Okay.
Because how? It was impossible, especially a single family home, for me. I'm a single mom, divorced single mom, and the houses are so astronomical. The pricing of it wasn't an option, right? So when I even considered owning, because I'm grown, I need to own something. As you learn, you understand that you need to have some kind of equity. You need to own something, right? So at that time, my aspirations were either a co-op or a condo, but really a co-op because I could afford it. Single family, then never. So when I moved and relocated, that became a possibility and an option for me. Yep, and so that's what I did.
Awesome. Okay, 2 things.
Yeah.
One, you may not have seen it, but I did a video about why people relocate from New York. Oh, you saw it?
And I got a lot to
Say.
we might make a different
Video
response. We might do a response video
about that. Okay. And then 2, now I appreciate you sharing. You were a divorced single mom.
Sure.
It wasn't, an option for you. And you guys see me now, I'm married, family. But when I purchased my first home, I was a single mom. So I relate to that. And I appreciate you sharing that because, listen, we are real people doing real life. Right. Everybody's situation is different, but home ownership is still possible. Still possible. Okay, so you relocated to Georgia.
Yeah.
Did you relocate to buy a home? You just wanted something different? What was?
Yeah. No, I wanted to live in Georgia for 20 years.
Okay.
When I was in college, I was a part of a gospel choir. Shout out to Voices of Unity Gospel Choir if you're watching this panel.
The girl can sing. She can sing.
So being a part of the gospel choir, we came to Georgia every year for a gospel choir workshop. And that was my exposure. And that started in 1996.
Okay.
And so coming from where I come from, growing up how I grew up, this was a different world for me. Like I had visited Virginia like once or twice, Pennsylvania, but I am from Bronx River Projects, and I am not ashamed to say it because that's where I earned my stripes. And it also brings more depth to, I think, this story of first time home ownership, right? And that wasn't even like, we don't see outside the block. We don't go outside the block, you know what I mean, right? So that's how I can't help it.
You keep it gully.
Keep it gully, son done. But yeah, so when I was getting that exposure, I said, this is my speed. Like I needed to get up out of Dodge. I need to get out. So I had always wanted to move to Georgia.
Okay.
So I had Life Be Lifin'. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, life be life.
Life Be Life. Okay. So
And wait, for those that don't know, that means, life is happening.
Yes.
Life happens, things are coming at you, and you are just rolling with the punches and the throws, and you still have to keep it going.
And it's not waiting or stopping or pausing for anything, right? So when a life episode happened in 2017 for me, my second time getting laid off, okay? I said, okay, this will be the perfect time.
You know what time it is?
To move to Georgia, something that I had been wanting to do forever.
Okay.
And at this point, my son had gotten older because when I was married and when we had our child, leaving was not an option because my family was there. I was not going to take the baby away from the family and do all of that. So he had gotten a little older. I'm now divorced. And it was like the perfect opportunity. Literally after the decision was made, that was June, July. 2 months later, I moved. Like, who does that? Who picks up their life, never living outside? That's how I know it's God.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you moved to Georgia, you rented.
So, listen, I got lots of stories for you, but I will condense it.
Okay.
All of this was a God thing. Not to over spiritualize, but I just got to testify and call it what it is because that's my reality.
Okay.
I have another friend that I met through social interaction, karaoke, long story.
Okay.
And so when I told her, I said, and she lived out here. So I'm in New York, she lived out here. So I said, girl, I'm thinking about moving to Georgia. She said, come stay with me. Like that was her. I wish I could have screenshot it. That was not really what she said. I'm like, what do you mean? She said, come stay here. I said, I got a whole son. She said, bring KJ. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Like
my hand to God.
That's a blessing because some people like you can come for a weekend, but you can't a week. You can't stay long.
So when I made the decision, I had no plan. But I just knew that I wanted to go. So she said that. And so when I got here, I didn't pay her anything because she wouldn't let me. She was like, I am proud of you, Eb. This was a big decision. You decided to do that. And your son, you need to, because he decided to stay with his father to finish elementary school. We let him make the decision. We knew this would be a traumatic and dramatic change for him. So we wanted him
to make the decision.
To choose. You could come with mommy now or stay with your friends and graduate elementary school. He decided to do that. So she said, you're here, you're trying to prepare for your baby. You don't give me nothing. I'm like, what, And I would try to sneak and say, how much do you pay? You gotta pay for water. She's like, you are not paying for the water bill, Ebony.
Oh, she's a blessing.
She was, and I call her my little angel. And so that's how I got here. So I was here for about, about 10 months. And then I was finally financially able to rent.
Okay. How long did you rent for?
I rented for just a little over 3 years.
Okay. So during that time, are you like, all right, I want to buy a home? Where's home ownership?
My dad drove me down. While we were driving down, we were talking about owning a home. It was immediate. It was like no option. You going to Georgia, you're getting a house. I'm like, I know, Dad. I know. So my thought process was when I was ready to move out from my friend's house to buy a house. I was going to go in straight and do that. The only reason why I didn't, besides the financial stuff, was
thanks to our video sponsor, The Ugly Side of Real Estate. Did you know that I wrote a book? Yes, and it's available on Amazon. Just type in The Ugly Side of Real Estate, and I so appreciate your support. And if you're interested in sponsoring a video, please go ahead and visit this link.
I don't know this planet of Georgia. I don't understand it. And so buying a house is so permanent. I wanted to have an opportunity to learn the state. And so when I would make a decision as to where I would buy my home, that I would be familiar with it.
Okay. Okay. All right. How did you end up going NACA? Was that your first decision, or did you try to go traditional, or how did that go?
Yeah. So at my job that I transferred from New York, God be bless him. So with Spectrum, I was working at Spectrum in New York. They laid me off from one department, and I was able to transfer through the company to Spectrum here. Okay, so there was a coworker that I met here, and she said, "Did you think about NACA?" And I had absolutely no idea what she was talking about. Never heard of it. And then by the time she was telling me about it, I thought it was a Georgia thing. I know now it's nationwide. I didn't know that at the time. Did you know that?
You're right, because there is an agent that I know, she's in North Carolina, and she has some videos. Shout out to Ash, the realtor. So she makes, she does NACA video. Well, she no longer, she kind of stopped working with them. I don't know if she picked them up again, but you're right, okay.
That was about right with NACA.
Okay.
But yeah, and so she told me about it, and I'm like, okay, I just kind of put a pin in it. And so when I was ready, I had a confirmation, went to another job. And then there was another lady, she was a manager, and I told her that I'm trying to look. She said, what about NACA? I'm like, this NACA thing. So somebody else brought it up.
And what year is this again?
At the time that she and I was having this conversation, we had the conversation in 2018.
Okay. All right.
Mind you, I only been here a year now. I wasn't playing. So we had the conversation in 2018. She said, but let me tell you, it's a long wait. So sign up for their workshop right now. That was 2018. And so when I went online to sign up, their next availability for a workshop was August 2019. That was the availability. Okay. So that's how I got introduced to it. So that's how it began.
Okay. So the next step, you're waiting, you go to the workshop.
Oh my God. Because you hear, when did I close? 2021. Okay, we're gonna repeat that. She got her appointment for August 2018. She closed 2021. NACA is not a fast process. It's not.
If you are watching this video and you personally have gone through NACA and you had a different experience, you got through sooner, please share that down below, because things change. I want to provide information to other people, because NACA is a great program. They have a great program because their interest rate is so low, and it helps people. They help you build your credit and work with your credit and get you where you need to be, right? But it takes time. It takes a lot of time. So you have to have the patience. Some might say the patience of Job. Yes, you have to have the patience. So if you are trying to get this thing done quick, it's not going to be NACA. I once had this gentleman pre-approved, and he could be ready to go. And he was like, I'm thinking about NACA. He was just all over the place trying to do everything. Yeah. I'm like, you just not ready. Like, you just old. Like, you going backwards, because you ready to go now, and you about to wait 2 years, or however. It may not be 2 years, but so it's not for everybody, but it is for some people. Yeah. Okay, so what happened between that period of time?
Yeah. So, excuse me. I went in, they gave me my first appointment for August. I went to the workshop. It's a 4-hour workshop. It is a required workshop before you can do anything, right? So I went to the workshop, and earlier we said life be life. Remember, we had said that life happens, doesn't care if you're trying to buy a house, doesn't care. So that weekend, it was a Saturday, I went to the workshop. That Tuesday, my mom passed away.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but so life happened and paused and stopped.
Okay.
So to be fair to NACA, right? They tell you once you do that workshop, you get your ID, your NACA ID. Once you get your NACA ID, you can sign up with the counselor and begin. So after the workshop, it is up to you to reach out to them to initiate the process. It's really important for people to understand that, because NACA is not going to hold your hand and do things for you. NACA will give you the tool, but you gotta do it. And so I was dealing with life, and I didn't care about a house. I didn't care about anything. So fast forward, now that was August 2019. Fast forward to December of that year.
You mean 2018?
No, 2018 is when I went on their website and signed up.
Okay.
And this was April 2018.
Okay.
And the next available appointment was August 20. Are you listening?
Again!
Blink, blink. Or April, they didn't have another available appointment until all that long time.
August 2018.
No, ma'am.
A whole year later?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to told you. I'm trying to told you.
Oh, I thought it was just like a couple months later.
Not at that time.
Okay.
Not at that time.
Okay.
So things have changed. The pandemic has changed the world and how things are processed in the world.
Okay.
At that time, the next available one was August 2019. Maybe they were hot and
then the market. Oh yeah, the market hadn't started booming yet.
No.
Okay.
But everybody knew about it, and the workshops are not. They're not like they weren't every month. You know what I mean? So probably that's how it was.
Okay.
So so now I was ready. Like, I already started this thing. I don't want to throw it away. I waited a whole year for an appointment.
Right. Okay. Oh wow, I missed that one.
Yeah, yeah. And so I said, let me just go ahead and call them. And this was December 2019.
Okay.
Call them 2019. I'm ready to have a meeting with my counselor to start the process. They said, fantastic. Okay. Our next available appointment is April 2020.
Huh?
I wish I was making this up. What happened in April 2020? The Ponderosa happened in April 2020. So they didn't know how to do anything virtual. They're, it's a not-for-profit, and you know what happens sometimes in not-for-profits, right? And so they don't really have the staff to meet the demand. And then everything went crazy for during the pandemic.
I'm just gonna say,
Yeah,
from
go
what I
ahead.
remember, you're dealing with some volunteers.
No,
No?
I don't know.
I know they have staff.
They do have staff.
Okay.
They do have some volunteers doing certain things. Like
Okay.
working the workshops.
Okay.
Those are NACA people like me. That part of the
Because
agreement.
they ask you to come back and give back. So got it. The pandemic happens,
Sure.
and what?
Yeah. So the pandemic happened, and so my appointment was canceled, rescheduled. It was rescheduled for June. I'm like, because you see how long? This is knowledge check. Do you remember when I first reached out to them? It was April 2018. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I understand. June comes. They did not reschedule me. They completely canceled the appointment.
Are you serious?
I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Because when I made my initial appointment, it was December 2019 and I had to wait all the way. So I'm like, you cancel. So what did I do? I'm like, okay, Ed from the Bronx, let's go. Now I need you to understand who I am, because we're not doing this. This is what we're not going to do. So I sent an email, and everybody's name, the CEO, the president, whoever founded this company, everybody was on the email list because I was calling them, and they weren't returning my calls. They weren't responding to my emails. If you've ever watched videos or heard anything about NACA, these are the cons, the hardships, why her realtor friends walked away.
Yeah, my clients.
Why
that
her
are-
clients walked away. But when I promise you, if you hold tight and get to the end of it, you're gonna understand why we persevere.
Okay. Hold on.
Hold,
Okay.
on.
All right.
Yeah, and so they I had to do that, and then finally somebody responded and they rescheduled me for an appointment in 2 weeks. I'm like,
Oh.
exactly. So that's how I started the initial process finally to start things to get going.
Where are we at now in time frame? What time frame?
So at this point, this is now, my appointment was scheduled for July 2019.
Okay.
No, 2020, sorry. July 2020.
2020. Okay.
2020, I got my first meeting with my mortgage counselor.
Okay. What do you remember what that meeting consisted of?
Yeah. So let me just put some context to this. Natasha started explaining what NACA does. One of the things that differentiates NACA from your standard mortgage is that NACA is not just a mortgage lender, right? It stands for, and you can go on and put it
Neighborhood
in
or something. It'll be in here.
Neighborhood Association
Alliance of
Corporation of America. I've been
Yeah.
practicing because I've been forgetting.
Okay.
So their main goal is to give people who normally would not be able to buy a home an opportunity, and not only that, to get a home in an area where they probably wouldn't be able to get it. So there's certain zones and things that they have in place to allow for that to happen. So they're not trying to help you to just get a house, they're helping you to keep the house. The goal is not to get the house only, is to keep the house.
Okay.
So their qualification process is really, really, really intense. But what your regular lender does on the back end after you sign your contract, NACA does that up front.
Okay.
So when you are NACA qualified, you are 99.9%, you're going to get that bank loan, period.
Okay.
Unless there's drastic circumstances.
Okay. Wow. Good. You.
Been through a lot, child. I know.
You ever thought about doing away for NACA?
I thought about it.
Okay.
And then I changed the thought.
Okay. So when you meet with your mortgage person,
Yeah.
how does that go?
consist
Yeah,
of?
what does that consist of, and what?
So, saying, that first meeting, if you have all the things that you need to have, what are these things? Remember, you had to start off with a 4-hour workshop. In the 4-hour workshop, they discuss everything. They have an extended question and answer portion of it. Literally, they let everybody ask a question, right? And then you leave with the workbook. And the workbook tells you everything you need to do and have in place to be qualified. Now, by the time you come to your meeting, if you have everything that you need to in that meeting, they ask you, okay, do you have this? What job do you have? You gotta have your W-2s, you gotta have your tax forms, you gotta have, if you're renting, there is a information that your leasing department people have to fill out. So you gotta have a lot of information. If you're divorced, been divorced how many daggone years, and they needed my divorce decree. Why? He's married already. But there are things that you have, if you have all those things in that meeting, you will be qualified. They will tell you right then and there. Most people don't, because you don't really know what you need. So in that meeting, we went through line item by line item, and then you upload your documents.
Okay.
So that's what we did. They do the interview and they ask you, how much house do you want? How much can you afford? And they want you to keep the house, not just get a house. So they put me into a space that financial budget to match what I was already paying in rent. So if you're already paying this in rent, we know that you can afford this in a mortgage.
Okay.
So that's what that first meeting consisted of.
Okay. Wow. All right. And then what happened next?
So I didn't qualify right then and there.
Okay.
So what they do, because there were things like not the divorce certificate, the divorce decree. What is that? Okay, I didn't even know what that was. So there were things, and what she says, okay, we need this list of things, and then we're going to schedule another appointment. So that's what they do.
Okay.
They schedule another appointment, and at that appointment, you have to come and bring all of the things that you need to complete your qualification process.
Okay. So what's next?
So, I went and got the things, and then I came back to my next meeting, and which was a month later. See the time. So it was a month later, and there were still things that I didn't have. And then also, while this is happening, you have to, every 2 weeks, every time you get paid, you have to upload your pay stub. Every single time, and then every month, you have to upload your banking statement. So this is constantly.
That's good information.
It's really important.
So you have to
though.
be involved. There are some people that apply for a loan and they are slow to give documents.
Yeah.
If that is you, this is not, NACA is not for you. If you just know you and you do not want to be involved, don't even think about it.
Absolutely, because what they will tell you is, you don't have it, that's okay. We're gonna reschedule you. And they will reschedule you until you get it. And then you're the one delaying, it. So,
Okay.
yeah. So to fast forward, it took me 2 different appointments. So my first appointment was in July 2019. By the time September 2020, right? By the time September 2020 came along, and that one, I finally had all of the documents that I needed in order to be qualified. She says, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and submit this, and then we'll let you know. Okay. And if you know anything about NACA, there's a whole community on Facebook that I was a part of, a whole community, and it really helped me so much. It was my sanity.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, because it was people that were already NACA qualified or aspiring to be NACA qualified. And there's just so many information. They're asking questions. What do you have to do? I got this back. Here are my conditions. What does this mean? And it really helped me learn so much. So, what I did was I almost lost my train of thought. Got it. So I was waiting.
Waiting on what? Waiting on the
I was
approval.
qualified.
Okay, waiting on
And
approval.
so in that, I brought up the group because it's like a thing.
Oh,
when people were qualified, they're posting it, and it's like a big celebration. Like, oh my God. People don't make it. People don't make it to be qualified because they get discouraged. Like,
and they're like, listen, I'm just gonna.
They don't do the work, or they are unable to wait.
Right, because some people just can't. They just, okay.
I was in a fantastic rental community. I'm in the school district that I want my son to be in. Super important. I didn't have to go anywhere. I wanted
to go.
So I had the time.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I got the text message that everybody, because it was a text message that says, NACA qualified. Not NACA qualified, because it's either pending or it said NACA qualified. I was like, I'm qualified. And once you're qualified, you can start home search.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Time for the home search. And I know this video has been long enough, so we are going to head into part 2.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for part 2. Make sure you check out that video, because now we're going to talk about how'd you find an agent? How'd that search go? How'd you find a home? All that good stuff. So thank you for watching. Drop your comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Tell Ebony thank you. Tell Ebony thank you for sharing her information, and be sure to check out part 2. Have a positive, peaceful, and productive day.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey.
I'm like, I'll take that.